Welcome to the Old Man of Three with JJ Redick and Tommy Alter, brought to you by 342 Productions. This is episode 208, Luka Doncic and Jalen Williams, a check-in with our new correspondent, Jalen Williams. Always fun to sit down with Luka. Also, if you follow us on social, IG, Twitter, you probably or hopefully saw last week's Hole of the Week, a quick short golf video. Every week, this is not sponsored. It's because I'm a sicko. We're just going to do a Hole of the Week. Last week, Cypress Point, number 15. This week will be Pebble Beach, number 7. I'll put that video out. Luka was kind enough to participate in the Hole of the Week. Sick golf swing. I was
going to say, we had to talk him into it. We had to talk him into it. By the time he swung it looked pretty good.
All right. Lots to get into. We have a great conversation with Luka for you guys. We have a check-in with Jalen. The return of the draft, the Old Man in the Three draft with Jalen Williams.
Yeah.
Tommy's favorite thing in the world. Before we get there, let's do our DraftKings Sportsbook segment. Trade deadline just finished, Tommy. We're going to run through a few of these trades real quick.
Huge news.
I kind of figured this was going to be a disappointing deadline for like the transaction population, the population of people that just love the NBA for drama and transactions. As far as I know, no stars moved. It was all ancillary pieces.
But to be fair, you'd say that the three biggest moves of this season have been Harden, Siakam, and OG. And it just happened before 3 p.m. today. Right. So there were big trades. It just didn't happen today.
Yeah, well, think about the trades in the offseason, right? Bradley Beal, Dame Lillard, Drew Holiday, Porzingis, Marcus Smart. All right. Walk me through these trades. I'm just going to simple response. The
Charlotte Hornets are finalizing a trade to send PJ Washington to the Dallas Mavericks for Grant Williams, Seth Curry, and a first-round draft pick.
Okay. I think in some ways it's like a high price to pay. PJ Washington, young player, probably a little more versatile offensively than Grant Williams. Actually, he is. You guys sometimes you get so obsessed with like my words that I'm just like, I got to be PJ Washington is a better offensive player than Grant Williams. There, I said it. Like the deal for Dallas.
Raptors are trading Dennis Schroeder to the Nets for Spencer Dinwiddie.
Nothing against Spencer Dinwiddie or Dennis Schroeder. Neither of those teams are going anywhere this year. It doesn't move me.
Yep. Oklahoma City Thunder are finalizing a trade to send Trey Mann and Davis Bertans to the Charlotte Hornets for Gordon Hayward.
Like that trade for Oklahoma City. I'm actually not surprised at all that there wasn't a big swing. Ever since we talked about them potentially like going for it this year, I've talked myself out of that, and all the sort of indicators were that they were not going to do that. I like this trade a lot for Oklahoma City. Gives them more depth, more wing size. Gordon Hayward, not in his prime anymore. Still a very good player. I like it a lot for OKC.
The big trade that everybody was talking about, especially we're in Brooklyn right now in New York today. Knicks are sending Quentin Grimes, Evan Fournier, 2 future second-round picks to the Pistons for Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks.
Yep. I'm sad to see Quentin leave New York because of the personal ties. A little tug at my heart, but I'm still going to be a Quentin Grimes fan for life. And love this trade for the New York Knicks.
I have 2 questions about this trade.
This is to me the most meaningful trade. Not that Gordon Hayward to OKC wasn't the most meaningful. This to me is the most meaningful.
Our boy Matt Williams, had a stat today. Bogey is one of 6 players in the last 2 years to average 20 points per game, shoot 40% from 3. Other ones are Jalen, Steph, KD, Kawhi, and Jeremy Grant. This Knicks team is pretty loaded.
Yes. I have said for a few weeks, given the uncertainty around Embiid, I guess a couple weeks, given the uncertainty around Embiid and his return, given, I wouldn't call it turmoil, but given the ups and downs of the Bucks season, the fact they are just now entering the hardest part of their schedule, the turnover with the coaching staff, the fact that they, up to this point haven't had, that lockdown wing defender. So in some ways, and in Cleveland, of course, is playing out of their minds. Want to see it in the playoffs for sure, but Cleveland I'm still high on. In some ways, I've said the Knicks, second best team in the East. Very good chance to make the conference finals. they make these trades. They add depth. They add more shooting. Alec Burks is shooting the shit out of the ball. Bogdanovic is a hell of a shooter. They're deep. I think you can look at Brunson as a tier 1 star right now. You can look at Randall as a tier 1 star. The guy's made 2 All-NBA teams in the last 3 years. Mitchell Robinson now potentially coming back before the end of the season. If this team is healthy, the pieces all fit perfectly.
Yeah.
And they have, to me, they have a guy. They have Jalen Brunson. They are absolutely loaded. And I think unequivocally to me right now, on paper, if healthy, I have to clarify all this shit with you guys. On paper, healthy, I think they are the best team, the second best team in the East. The second best team in the East to the Boston Celtics. Would not surprise me if the New York Knicks make a deep run in the playoffs, provided they're healthy. But I love both these trades for them. I love the fit of these guys. Alec Burks, been in a Knick uniform before. Bogdanovic toiling away in Detroit. Great fit for him.
Shout out to the Knicks front office for also making these trades without giving up a first-round pick. The question I wanted to ask you about these two in particular as shooters, they're both shooting close to or over 40% as above the break shooters in terms of the way they get their shots. Do you feel like this fit with Jalen in particular and these guys is made even more impactful for that, and that they're not just guys who are hitting corner threes, but these are guys who can play into the way this offense already fits?
Yeah. Both these guys, to me, are absolutely more versatile than just spot-up shooters, but they are good spot-up shooters. So, to me, you take Brunson out of the game, you can run sets for Bogdanovic, you can put the ball in Alec Burks' hands, he can help facilitate a half-court offense. They both fit in different lineups with OG and Randall and either Hartenstein or Mitchell Robinson. There's just a lot of optionality. That's what you need in the playoffs. You need optionality. The Knicks offense, it's been efficient now for 2 seasons. The Knicks offense is not a complicated offense. Generally speaking, they run some ISOs for Randall. They run pick and roll for Brunson. And most everything they do is out of that. Now, they run some fluff. And by fluff, I mean a zoom action, dribble handoff at the top of the key. Brunson cuts through. He then gets a swing pass, and they run a step-up pick and roll. It's everything ends up in a Jalen Brunson pick and roll or a Julius Randle ISO. Like, that's their offense, right? You need shooting around that offense. You need bigger defenders. OG, I said this at the time, great fit. They go 14-2 in January. Their defense has been spectacular. Hartenstein has been spectacular. The Knicks are for real. The Knicks are for real. Love that trade. And by the way, this is the DraftKings Sportsbook odds pre-trade deadline. So we are recording this at 3:13 p.m. on Thursday. These are the odds as of this morning. The Knicks basically 7th best odds to win the NBA Finals at plus 2,500. Just to go through these real quick. Celtics, Nuggets, Bucks, all at under plus 550. And then you've got the Suns at plus 1,400. Clippers in there at plus 550 as well. And the Timberwolves at plus 2,000. Interesting to see how those odds shift after these trades are done. OKC, by the way, because we mentioned the Gordon Hayward trade, in terms of winning the Western Conference, Denver with the best odds as of this morning at plus 200, Clippers at plus 280, Phoenix Suns at plus 650, and both the Timberwolves and the Thunder at plus 900, essentially tied for 4th. Fascinating what is going on at the top of the Western Conference right now, where these 4 teams, you lose a game, you can go from 1st to 4th overnight. That's a race that we're going to be talking about a lot, particularly as it relates to home court advantage. You think about Denver's run last year, where they get home court advantage for the playoffs, or at least through the Western Conference Finals. And then, of course, because Miami won, they get it in the finals as well. That altitude is a real thing. That home court advantage they have is a real thing. I think that'll be super important. OKC, one of the best crowds
that crowd is
in
crazy.
the NBA. I think that'll be important. We've seen Minnesota now in some of these play-in games and first-round games with an insane crowd. And for the Clippers, of course, I I want to call playoff games in LA. So like,
So this is
come on,
selfish.
Clippers. Come on,
This
Clippers.
is just keep it up.
I need that Riviera action. I need that Bel Air action. Come on. All right, you got any other trades? Or that's it?
No, that's it.
All right, this has been our DraftKings Sportsbook segment.
The NBA season is in full swing. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app with code JJ. New customers can bet just $5 on the NBA and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code JJ. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/basketball for eligibility and deposit restriction, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
Let's get to our conversation with Luka Doncic. You're getting a new face mask today?
I gotta get fit for mine.
What were you wearing last night?
Maxis.
Maxi's face mask?
We got 3 broken noses in 1 week.
How did you break your nose?
I ran into Kyrie's shoulder, yes.
You ran into Kyrie's shoulder?
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of on-court looks, what's up with your new on-court look this season?
Which one?
With the little skinny headband.
I need to
When
cut my hair, man.
Your hair's immaculate.
But it's too expensive to get a haircut these days.
It's not too expensive.
It's $100.
Well,
In Slovenia, it's like $12.
you need to find a new barber.
No. Barber's great.
Luka, thanks for joining us. I didn't realize we had you on 2 years ago, March of 22.
Really?
Yeah. Feels like it was just yesterday. I feel like a lot has happened since then. A lot to digest. Most importantly, you became a father. Gabriella, your daughter, just absolutely beautiful. I heard you don't change diapers.
Oh, wait, what?
You put
Of
that,
course I change.
you said on TNT you don't change diapers.
No, I do.
You do.
Not as much as
Other people.
Anna, but I do.
Has being a dad changed your perspective on your job? Has it changed how you approach being an NBA player?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's way easier to play for me. The approach is the same, but just like playing is way easier. You know, I said after the game, sometimes you have bad nights and then you come home and you see that little thing. So just all goes away, you know, and it's just happiness. But the approach is the same, you know. I just play maybe more freely, more happier, which is the best thing.
I became a dad at 30. Knox was born when I was 30. And the best years of my career were after Knox was born. I had Kai a couple years later, but or Chelsea had Kai. But it is amazing. Like my approach didn't change at all. I do think it's amazing how the like inherent internal pressure that you put on yourself, it's still there, but it's definitely less. You use the word free, and I feel like that's what it is. You just play freer.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Especially like in NBA, you have to go out there almost every second night. It's a lot of games. You have to put up with a lot of defenses, a lot of different scouting. Every time is different NBA teams, so you gotta process quickly, you know. But like you say, you know, I use the word free, so I think that's the point.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Last time you were on the pod, you said that scoring 30 in the NBA was, hold on.
I know
You said scoring 30 in the NBA was way easier than scoring in Europe. And a lot of people have co-signed that. I'm not here to dispute that take at all. The other night you had 73 against the Hawks. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've rewatched the 25 made baskets like 5 times. And to some degree, it did look easy. Did that 73 feel easy?
Oh, no.
No.
Definitely not. I mean, everybody say my game looks easy. It's not easy. Trust me. But when I said that, a lot of people didn't agree with me. It was like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
But I think now they're starting to agree more and more. But I always say it's because of the rules. Last minutes, the 3 seconds in the paint in defense is huge. I don't think people realize how huge that is. Because, when I'm isoing, I watch the defender in the paint. So he got to go out at some point. So when he's going out, I try to attack. So that's a huge difference. But no, it wasn't easy scoring 73.
You brought that up last time, that low man as he's trying to cleanse himself. The weak side guy, right? Generally speaking, he's not going to be on the ball side, but that weak side guy, as he's trying to cleanse himself, watching him. And I was watching some film of LeBron the other day. He does a really good job with that too. I do want to ask more about the 73-point game, but since you brought it up and the rules.
You brought it up.
No. You brought up the rules. The rules. And I'm curious, because one of the things you mentioned last time was the physicality in Europe. It wasn't just the rules. It was kind of how those in Europe, the referees allow a little bit more. Flopping is generally not given to the offensive player. Do you think, and I don't know how familiar you are with like the 90s era hand checking. Do you think hand checking would have an impediment on offenses? Like, would it matter?
What do you mean, like hand checking?
The ability to just like.
I'm not American. So
okay, no.
To explain a little bit.
The rule was you couldn't like keep your hand on someone, but you could sort of put your hand on, put your hand off, put your hand on, put your hand off. So as somebody's sort of attacking only in the scoring area, not necessarily all over the floor.
You can still do that.
I agree.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I agree. My argument right now is bring back hand checking. You know what hand checking is going to do? It's going to lead to more shooting fouls.
Yeah, 100%.
Because offensive players are so smart now. The second I was calling a game the other night with Kevin Durant, and Mikal Bridges was D'ing up, legally had his hands on him, and once he put his hand out and Kevin could get into a shooting motion, he just went into a shooting motion.
I mean, the amount of offensive talent there's in the league right now is just insane. I don't think people really realize it, how much talent offensively there is. And then again, you have some really great defensive players that, like yesterday I really have to give credit to Claxton. He's a 5 and he was even picking me full court. He was really guarding me good. So, you have a lot of great defensive players too. It's
interesting from my vantage point because I get to call games. I'm calling a game later tonight, actually. That's why I'm dressed like this. But from my vantage point, when I watch games on TV, there's a feeling of not necessarily non-physicality, but you don't quite capture it. When you're sitting up close, when I call a game looks more physical. It just does. And so the other thing, there's a clip in the second half. You're driving, and there's two defenders. One guy's like kind of at the nail, and one guy's kind of helping in off the wing, and you do the low pull through. And initially, they didn't call it a good basket. You make the shot. They eventually reversed it, and you got the and one. But that move is another move where like James Harden was the first kind of to do it. I think with spacing and with talent, I don't think hand checking is going to have that big of a difference. To your point about the defensive 3 seconds, I think that would.
Oh, that would 100%. But the hand checking, like you said, I don't think so. Because that one, they started to stop calling that a lot now. I mean, for me.
The low pull through.
Yeah. I think they stop more and more. They're stopping calling that.
Well, the other thing is I was going to say is when I watch you play a lot out of like a split stance. Do you know what I mean by that? Like when you're up top in ISO, you play it out of a split stance. And a lot of times you use that left to right dribble between the legs to attack the top leg and get to your right hand. I would say, what do you think it is? Half the time, more than half the time, somebody puts their hands on you immediately as soon as you go to that move. And it's rarely called. You get it sometimes, but it's rarely called.
Yeah, but yeah, I do that a lot. It's just, my step back to the left. But I mean, I just take what defense gives me. They send me left, I'll go left. They send me right, I'll go right. I think I have a couple moves in me. I'm trying to do the sham guard in one.
You're trying to bring out the sham guard?
That's good. They'll probably steal it right after I do this.
Going back to that 73-point game, you use this a lot. And when we called opening night in San Antonio, you had one of the best decelerations that I've seen. A bunch of guys are doing this now. It's become so important on drives, right? To be able to decel, let the defense fly by or draw a foul. You had 2 against Atlanta off the right leg, bank shot. How did you sort of develop that part of your game? Because I'm curious. I watched you work out when I was your teammate. You go at a certain speed in your workouts, but the full speed to the decel, how much are you practicing that? When did you develop that?
I didn't practice that. That's just,
You're a sick fuck.
I just call it the slow step, I remember one day I tried to teach Dodo.
You tried to teach Dorian Finney-Smith?
Yeah. I say, you just got to do the slow step, you got to go into defender a little bit, and then just slow step. Wait till he's going to jump. And if he don't jump, you just go up. So I don't know. Maybe it's the IQ. I don't know. But I never really practiced that one.
You don't practice that? All right.
Not that one.
It's just a natural thing, which is why I'm so jealous of you, I think. It's just your ability to just do things on the fly. You and Joel are like the 2 guys that I played with.
Why are you jealous?
Because I could never do that. I don't have the gift. I remember one time I was working out and my trainer tried to, it was a very specific gather to a euro. And I did it like 12 times.
Is there a video?
No, there's no video because I'd never had cameras in the gym.
I don't have either.
I know you don't. But
a lot of people do.
At some point I was just like, fuck it, dude. We're not doing this. I'm going to use this twice in a
Yeah, I mean, you do the things you're good at.
Yeah. By the way, you went into that Atlanta game. I think you still are, but you're the most blitzed player in the NBA. Atlanta blitzes the most in the NBA. They only blitzed you 8 times the entire game, 3 of which came in the last 5 minutes, and only twice in the first half when you had 41. When teams aren't blitzing you, because it's a night-to-night occurrence that you get multiple blitzes. When teams aren't blitzing you, what is your sort of mindset around scoring versus playmaking?
I think when they don't blitz, it depends. If they play like we call it channel 1, if the big is just in the drop, there's a lot of playmaking there. The clap and the old Gortat screen, it's efficient. But then if they switch, I'm just trying to go downhill. I know there's going to be always a low man. Sometimes I just stagger a little bit on the threes, on the step backs. But I got to be more downhill because, I can get downhill a lot. And when I touch the paint, I think our team is best at scoring.
You brought up the Gortat screen. I'm going to explain this Gortat screen. So the big is in a drop.
Yep.
All right. You turn the corner on the pick.
Yes.
Your defender's behind you.
Yeah.
The roller, you put him in jail. The roller, then instead of rolling to the basket, rolls into the defender in drop coverage and essentially sets a little brush screen. And sometimes they will fully set the screen.
Yeah.
First basket of the Atlanta game. Derek Lively did that on Capella.
We still got to work with Derek Lively on that one.
You still got to work with him on that one?
Yeah.
Who's have you played pick and roll with in Dallas that has done that well?
Dwight Powell, Maxey. Those 2. I think those 2. Holmes did it a couple times. But before, who I played with?
You got to get Derek. Kristaps really wasn't doing it because he wasn't rolling.
He was before. He was popping.
Yeah. You got to get Derek doing that more.
Yeah.
Especially against...
He's 19. He's got a lot of way to learn.
When I called your first game, he had a monster game. He didn't start that game, and he came off the bench. I think he had like 16 and 8 or something. He was phenomenal. But for you and sort of unlocking you, how important is that vertical lob threat?
Big. And just the way he plays, he plays with a lot of energy, blocking shots, helping us on defensive end a lot, But just, I don't think nobody expects him at this time at the beginning that he was going to be this good. But man, he's really good. He's 19, first season and already doing this stuff. He can be a big problem in this league.
Do you feel like your leadership is different now than it was 2 or 3 years ago? Like, are you more vocal?
Yeah, for sure. Way better than 2-3 years ago.
Why is that? Is that just your own maturity? Is that J Kid getting on you? Is that?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of everything, maturity, then more experience, and J Kid helps me a lot. So I think it's a little bit of everything.
Looking for a super offer for Super Bowl 58? DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. New customers can bet on the big game and turn $5 into $200 instantly in bonus bets. I've got my eyes on the money line right now. As of this recording, Chiefs at plus 100 and the 49ers at minus 20. Interesting. You're a Chiefs fan. That looks good. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code JJ. New customers can bet $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 58 with code JJ. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or in West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info, claim as of Q1 2024, validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs, and 401k's 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial, LLC, member SIPC, is a registered broker-dealer.
Last night against Brooklyn, speaking of blitzes, last night against Brooklyn, you threw the ball to Josh Green against a blitz, and he threw an unexpected pass, I would call it, to Kyrie Irving.
Pass.
It was a bad pass.
It was a bad pass.
When I saw it live, it was like, I was like, oh, that's a fine pass. But then you see it at the other angle, it was a bad pass.
But then Kyrie, that got Kyrie.
Your reaction? What did you think when that happened?
Oof. I almost didn't believe it. That was actually insane. For Kyrie to do that?
I didn't realize he caught it like the wrong way and then had to pull it back towards the rim.
That was insane.
It was sick.
I can't do that.
How's it been with Kyrie? You guys obviously in and out last year to finish the season.
Great, man. He's a really great guy. Obviously basketball player, the way he is. But it's just been amazing. He helps me. He helps everybody in the team, and everybody loves him on the team. So he's just a great guy.
You said last night it's easier to play a lot of minutes when Kyrie's playing with me, and the data. We're just going to drop these real quick.
Here we go.
When Kyrie plays with you on the court, per 100 possessions, fewer touches for you, fewer dribbles for you, fewer time of possession for you. When he's not on the court, you bring up the ball 56% of the time. When he's on the court, you bring up the ball 44% of the time. Do you? I know you do, but the burden that you feel night to night of having to score, having to play make, essentially everything runs through you.
Rebound.
You rebound
last night?
No,
okay. Just making sure.
I know you're a good rebounder. What are you averaging? 8 this year? 9?
I think 7.
7. Okay. But just having Kyrie there as not he's not a safety blanket, obviously, but having Kyrie there to help facilitate some of that offense, you haven't really had that, because Jalen was not Jalen when Jalen to a degree at times was, but he wasn't the Jalen that we see in New York right now.
How much easier is it for you with him?
Oh, it's way easier. Like I told you, I guess I played 43 minutes and it was back to back and I felt fine. Me on a back to backs it's tough,
Especially with a mask on.
Yeah, that was it wasn't to my face, but it's way easier, man. Just like Brooklyn blitzed me yesterday, and the next guy was Kyrie. So sometimes he was even open. So that's like easiest way to play. It's so much easier.
Going back to just like that burden of having to score, having to play make. Now you have Kyrie. Do you have like an optimal way that you want to play? Because I think to some degree there's like, I don't want to call it criticism, but it's there's a way that you have to build around you, right?
Yeah.
I think the comparison has been at times James Harden, right? How they built around him with Houston. Do you have an optimal way that you want to play in terms of your usage, the personnel around you?
I mean, obviously, everybody does, but just, I just play. I just want to win. And like I said, with Kyrie in here, last season was kind of tough because he just came in. We couldn't have practice or nothing together. It was a long season. But this season, honestly, we just got to get healthy. We've been having injuries a lot. Me, Kyrie, Derek Lively, Maxey. So we just got to get healthy, honestly, and then see what our potential really is.
Do you feel good about your potential? I mean, you were on a Western Conference playoff team 2 years ago. Obviously, the West right now, different. It's a different animal. It's a different animal. But where are you sort of with your team and sort of your postseason hopes?
Yeah, I think we'll be fine. Like I said, we just need to get healthy, and we need to see our potential. We still don't know. I think me, D-Live, and Kyrie play with 15 games together, I think, out of 40. Or I don't know how many we played. But just need to get healthy, man.
What did you learn? What were your takeaways from advancing past the first round, getting deep into the playoffs, getting all the way to the Western Conference Finals, losing to the NBA champion?
Yeah. It was fun, man. It was really fun. Playoffs are fun. It's just different vibe, man. But that playoff run we had, if we win the second game, we're up 15. We don't blow that one. We could probably have a chance. But Golden State was obviously on another level, so it was really tough to play against them. But it's fun, man. I remember that playoff run. Everybody was locked in. Everybody was having fun.
You have a unique ability, I think, to find this perfect balance between having fun, which you do. You're loose. You're free. Maybe freer than ever, as you said. But also just being an absolute psycho. It's like the and one towards the end of the game to get you to your 69th point against Atlanta.
Almost
turning to
I was too dizzy.
Turning to the crowd, screaming, right? Then being able to oscillate all the time between that joy, I think that we talked about last time, and then just the competitive nature. How is that so easy to do for you? Because I find it fascinating.
Why everybody thinks it's easy?
Is it not easy?
No.
What are you telling yourself? Like, how do you mentally sort of lock into both? The balance we talked about last time. It was like you are at play when you're playing basketball, but then there's also just an absolute killer. So it'd be like going on a play date and like having a great time, but then by the end of it, you punched everyone. Or you've made all the other kids cry.
Yeah, that's a great question, but honestly, I don't know the answer to it. I don't know what I tell myself. I have no idea. Honestly, I just play basketball.
You do more than that.
I know, but now that I think of it, I don't know what I tell myself.
Do you feel slighted? Do you look for motivation? Are you looking for people to trash talk?
No, not really.
No.
But when they do, it gets me going. That's for sure.
What's the relationship like right now with Devin Booker?
It's good.
Yeah.
See, last time we played, we didn't have fight. It wasn't me and him.
I know. You had a nice conversation on the court.
Yeah, I told him for one time it's not us.
It's not us. That game 7 from 2022. Have you ever been a part of a game that was like that, where you guys just get up and it's a 40, 50-point game?
No. I mean, I did
at halftime, basically.
I did, but not that important game.
Not a game 7. Yeah,
not even close. Yeah, that was unbelievable, man. I was at halftime. I was like, please, everybody lock in. Let's not blow this lead.
Let's not.
I was nervous at halftime. I'm not gonna lie. I was nervous a little bit at halftime. But then we went out and then we make like 3 threes straight. I was like, okay, we're good.
And then you turn around and you guys don't make the playoffs last year.
That was tough.
Yeah. Talk to me about that.
It was a tough season, man. I think we started good. I don't really remember last season.
You don't remember last season?
No, it was tough, man. It just, missing the playoffs, even the play-in, it was tough. Especially, Kyrie was brought here. It was a tough season. But, we got the life out of it. I think we started great this season. And then we got a couple of injuries. So, like I say, we need to see our potential still. But last season was tough.
Do you feel like in the last year, maybe, from missing the playoffs to, I don't want to accuse you of anything, but there are.
So you're accusing me?
No, I'm pointing something out. There's clips on the internet of you not running back on defense, complaining to the refs. Do you feel like there's like this natural cycle of how people view NBA players when they first start and they're as good as you were? You made first team All-NBA your second year, right? You had an iconic sort of performance against the Clippers in the bubble. You get to the conference finals and then you don't make the playoffs, and all of a sudden there's like a backlash almost to you. Did you feel that?
Yeah. I mean, of course. I think a player like me, I think needs to make playoffs every year. Especially the last season was tough. But yeah, I mean, there's always going to be talks, always some people going to say something about you. Me, about my defense, obviously. But I think I really took a step this year. I saw some stats. One of my friends texted me.
Some defensive stats?
Yeah. I don't remember really what it was, but in isolations against me, I was in good percentage. I don't remember how much, but I saw it.
Is that because you're taking more pride in trying more? Or is that is it a concerted effort for you this year?
Yeah. I think it's way more effort than last year's. But it's just, I think it's way more effort.
So when last season ended and you guys don't make the playoffs, you're disappointed. I say this all the time, Luka. And I lived through it with you, actually. Getting traded midseason, roster turnover, all that stuff. It's hard. You guys lose Jalen. Don't get anything back for him, too. And then the Kyrie trade happens. We'll get to that. Yeah. The Kyrie trade happens. And it's tough to build chemistry. And both you guys at times were in and out. You didn't play a ton together at the end of last season. So last season ends. You're aware, it sounds like, of some level of negativity and perception of you.
Should be.
What was your sort of mindset and approach then for the offseason? Even coming into this season? What did you want to prove? What did you want to get better at?
After the season, I was looking forward to the national team, honestly, every summer. But coming into this year, I knew we need to make a point. And like I said, we started great. But then some injuries happened. We need to make a playoffs. With that roster, we need to make a playoffs. Obviously, the West is stacked, super stacked. You have everybody playing good. But yeah, I remember that, like I said, the 2022 playoff run, that was fun, man.
You want to get back to that?
Yeah, that was really fun. It was so competitive and so much fun that I want to go back. Super fun playoffs, man.
I said this the other day, and I meant it. and I think I've told him this to his face, so it's not a big deal. Did you have any idea Jalen Brunson would be this good?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Why?
I would say one game that really was impressive on that playoff run. We lose the first game against Utah. I don't play the first 2-3 games.
I think it was the first two, but
First 2, yeah.
we can fact check that.
Maybe 3. I don't think I played the first one in Utah.
Oh, right, because you got the win. Yeah, you stole the win and you got to sit out again.
So that second game, I mean, if we lost that second game, it would be tough to come back. We 0-2, and then we have 2 in Utah. So that second game, I think he had like 45, something like that. Like it was a tough game, and we needed a win no matter what. And that game was really impressive. I was just on the bench watching, like, wow, this guy's amazing. But just starting the first we got together, like the way he worked out every day, coming back in the afternoon, it was just amazing to play with that guy.
I watched him as a competitor, and I was his teammate. I think that was one of the things that stuck out with me was how serious he takes his craft. By the way, this is totally random. So I went to the Knicks game last night. I'd left early because basically, they were playing the Grizzlies, and Jalen is phenomenal. Jalen Brunson, since Villanova, really, but certainly since he got in the NBA, if he dribbles up the right sideline, and goes to a DHO with a guard, he's going to keep it.
Yeah.
He's going to keep it, right?
Every time.
Every single time. So the Grizzlies last night, they're playing some 10-day guys, some two-way guys,
yeah, they
right?
have a lot of injuries.
The kid Vince Williams, by the way, is really good, but a lot of injuries. Young guys too, right? I think Luke Kennard,
Rose was playing, right?
Saldama, Derrick Rose played some. Yeah, that was pretty much it. I think for like not young guys. I'm sitting across from their bench, and they take the ball out, and Tibbs yells, 7 keep. He yells the word keep.
Yeah.
If I can hear it, all the Grizzlies players can hear it. And Jalen dribbles up the right side
And keeps it.
and keeps it and gets a wide open layup.
I mean,
What the fuck?
he always keeps it.
He always keeps it. Do you watch the NBA? Do you watch like every night? Or do you take time to get away from the game?
So. I watch football.
Yeah.
EuroLeague.
But you just have just an innate understanding. Like for a young guy, when you came into the league, did you get scouting reports? Did you get people's tendencies?
Yeah. I had my first year. I had to watch almost the whole film before practice, like movie, 1 hour at least.
Really?
Yeah, my first year.
Was it more personnel or was it more just like clips?
It was both.
Both?
Yeah, it was personnel, how other people played, like how other people play on defense, everything, basically everything. But then after my first year, not so much.
You downloaded everything. Everybody always talks about how like great players. I say this all the time on a broadcast. I'll be in coaches meetings before a broadcast, and coaches will be like, "Oh, we got Jokic tonight, and we're going to give him multiple looks or whatever." And sometimes they don't give him multiple looks, and he shoots 22 times and he scores, right? But I do believe great players, you have to mix up coverages. What always amazes me is how quickly you guys can process that and make reads on the fly.
Yeah. I mean,
is it the first possession? If a team's in a drop for 10, 11 pick and rolls, and then they come to a blitz, you know exactly what to do.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's not that hard.
Oh, I know, but like last night, I assume you knew going into the game, Brooklyn switches almost as much as anyone in the NBA against pick and rolls. I think they actually might switch the most against pick and rolls.
I think on the scouting report was first.
So did you watch film beforehand being like, all right, when Claxton's on me?
No, I didn't.
You didn't? I love you so much.
That was my first year. We watched the Tim film.
Is there anything that surprises you now?
What do you mean?
In terms of coverage?
I think I've seen it all.
You've seen it all?
Yeah. Boxing one, blitz, half court trap.
Who ran a boxing one against you?
Toronto, I think.
Toronto?
Yeah.
With Nurse?
No, this year.
Oh, this year.
Yeah.
Scotty Barnes?
It was twice this year. I don't remember which either. But yeah, with Nick Nurse for sure.
I do find it fascinating, the processing speed.
I mean, it's easy. You just play 4-on-4 basketball. Sometimes I just stay at half court and the guys to my face.
And the guys
so the other play just play 4-on-4. There's even more space.
Do you decide beforehand, like if you know a team's going to blitz, like the Hawks game, they blitz the most in the NBA, right? Do you have a different mindset about the game? If you know, like last night or the switches or Hawks game, they're blitzing. Do you go into a game thinking anything differently?
Yeah, I think when they blitz, it's easier for our team to win. Because when I blitz, I take it out more of the pick and roll, so the other guy has a long way to go. So it's basically 4-on-3 basketball. So it gets other people going, which is better.
Yeah.
I think every time they blitz, the more times they blitz, we won more games.
That's interesting. I'm gonna look that set up.
Well,
you're a big advanced stat guy, I can tell.
No, definitely not. You're in the analytics now.
I'm not. Why? You don't think I was as a player? You don't think I was studying this shit as a player?
You were shooting.
I was correct.
That's about it.
That's about it. I would have never.
I'm kidding.
I want to ask about one specific play from last season, and that was the Knicks game-tying shot off the missed free throw.
Oh, yeah.
So there's two things that are really fascinating to me about that play. Number one was your celebration, which I want to hear about.
Yeah. You'll be surprised what I thought.
You rewatched that celebration?
Yes. You were surprised what I thought.
Okay. And then the second part is the fact that I was only with you for 2 months, but the amount of dumb shit that you practice. No, I'm being serious. The amount of dumb shit you practice, and then it just comes out in a game. Like I bet you, whether you're willing to admit it or not, I bet at some point in your life, you've practiced intentionally missing free throws.
Yeah. I did it against San Antonio too.
Yeah.
Last year.
There was a shot you made it against Atlanta in that 73-point game from the right corner behind the backboard.
It was over the backboard.
I know. That's what I said.
Yeah. And going right. I don't go right.
Going right. You can't shoot going right.
I can't. Crazy. Just show it.
No, you just gather, dribble, and snatch it back.
No, it was going right.
I know, but you never shoot going right.
You shoot going right.
Yeah, of course. But tell me about that celebration.
Oh, yeah.
The moment.
Yeah, I actually thought we won. It was 2 points.
So maybe you aren't that smart.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, I actually thought it was only...
You thought it was a 1-point game?
I don't know what I thought, but I thought
you thought it was a 1-point game and
I would have missed the free throw. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know what was happening. I actually thought we won. Because then I went there to celebrate it. And then I think Seawood tells me, it's a tie game. So, oh, shit.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, but then I would have missed the free throw, right? I don't know what was going on.
But a
lot of emotions.
but that was a great example of the joy.
Shit at practice.
Oh, it was a great example of both. It was a great example of the joy, and it was a great example of you doing dumb shit at practice.
Yeah,
coming out in a game.
I do practice a lot of dumb.
Going back to the criticism, is it still as fun? Do you still find as much joy? Does it wear on you at all? You're older now.
I'm getting old. But no, I mean, I find joy, yeah. I mean, there's always going to be criticism, But then I always remember when I was young, I just want to be an NBA player. That's it. And now to be where I am, it's just unbelievable. So that all goes away at the moment. But it's wearing down a lot sometimes, honestly.
What was your stat line last night? 35, 18, and 9?
Yes.
How many turnovers? 1?
1 at the end of the game.
Yeah. Apparently that was the only game in Basketball References database with that stat line. It's pretty good.
You forgot to steal one block. Should be 3 steals.
But like I said, your defense has just been phenomenal this year. Did I say that or did you say that?
You said it.
I said it.
You should say it on TV.
I should?
Yeah. Push the agenda for NBA's second defensive team.
The other stat I got this morning, which I love this one. Last night broke a tie for the most career 35-point games before turning 25. You now have 89.
Oh, really?
You've moved into third place all time. Wilt has 92. LeBron has 103. Close.
Wait, LeBron,
When do you turn 25?
February 28th.
Shit, I don't think you're going to get there. You might be. You could beat Wilt. You could beat Wilt.
So Wilt is second?
Yeah, Wilt's second. You can get that. You could beat Wilt. Do you think about LeBron's record? I know you get asked about it.
Yeah.
Is it important? Is stuff like that important to you?
No.
Is there any chance you would ever?
No.
You're not
I
playing
always
that long.
say I'm not playing that long. No chance. I'm going to have my own farm. I'm going to be in Slovenia.
What does a perfect career look like for you from here on out? You've had a pretty damn good career so far, but from here on out.
I mean, I still didn't win nothing. I mean, in NBA. I won in Europe. But, championships. That's it.
Do MVPs matter to you?
I mean, obviously, I would like one.
You like one?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't like MVP?
I'm just saying. One MVP, a championship, and then you're in Slovenia on your farm.
Hopefully, I can get more championships. But yeah, I still got to build a farm, so I still got some years to go.
All right, Luka, appreciate it, buddy.
Of course,
You're the best.
thank you.
All right, Luka's awesome. Now let's get to our check-in with new Old Men in the Three correspondent, Jalen Williams. Jalen, what's good, my man? How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for agreeing to be an Old Men in the Three correspondent. It's
JJ was
it's
excited.
exciting for us.
He was jumping around the office.
Well, it's just for me, someone who was a huge fan last year and got the opportunity to sit down with you in Oklahoma City. I'm not afraid to admit my fandom for certain players. I think anybody who follows this podcast or that knows me to any degree knows that I'm a fan of yours. So for you to agree to do this, hey, we're really excited. When we had you on in October, one of the things we talked about was expectations and sort of how you guys were managing those expectations. Has this season so far, in terms of the team's success, has it to some degree exceeded any of your expectations? Or is it just on par with what you thought you guys would play like?
I don't know. It's like a little bit of both of those. It's like I think our goal going into the season, like, I don't know if other teams, because this is year 2, so I have no idea, but like, I feel like other teams, I don't know if they are like, okay, we need to win this amount of games and need to get to the playoffs. Like, we really didn't do none of that. It was just more like we wanted to play how we ended the year last year, to, start the year. And I think we've done like kind of a good job of just kind of holding up to that. And that's kind of produced where we are now. So I wouldn't say that like, we're hitting like expectations on like wins and stuff like that. But I think it's just more like the way we're playing and, kind of like the bond that we have, I think is what the goal of the season was. And then wherever that takes us, we can kind of build off that. And that's kind of led us to this point.
Before we started recording, Tommy asked a great question about team dinners, which we'll get to in a second. But, I think what's interesting in listening to you talk back in October and sort of watching the team right now, you guys are top 5 offense, top 5 defense. You have been those things for most of the season. Generally speaking, if you have a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense, you're going to win a lot of games. But there's a level of camaraderie with your team that, as a viewer of your games, is like striking. And Tommy was talking about the element of camaraderie within a group, whether or not it leads to success. I wanted to get your thoughts on that in terms of that impact on your team. And I'll sort of follow up with my own personal thoughts on it. But I thought it was a really interesting question, Tommy.
Yeah, I think it correlates for sure. I think just the more you're around, your teammates and I feel like the more you can kind of create that bond with them, no matter what it is you're doing, I think it's just like one of those things that without us even having to put a lot of effort in or notice, that you just become closer to the guys. And, that ends up kind of being reciprocated on the court. So yeah, I personally think it holds a lot of weight. I think there's some things too where you can't really like force a relationship on people too. So I think that goes hand in hand. But usually when you have like a good, genuine bond with the team, I feel like that automatically will correlate to the court.
With the success you guys are having, do you feel like you're becoming sort of like you were the sort of hunters and now you're becoming the hunted in real time? Like we were just talking about where you are in the standings and having to deal with the fact that, teams are now, they circle you on the schedule as like, oh, we want to take the Thunder out versus, that wasn't necessarily the case last year.
Yeah, we feel that for sure. Especially the beginning of the year last year, I think teams were kind of like around like that January point, teams were kind of like resting their players against us. And now it's a completely different dynamic. It just, this whole season feels way, way different. I feel like, we're getting everybody's best shot every night. I think that's honestly kind of helped us throughout the year just because, we're a little more battle tested throughout the regular season. So, but yeah, our season feels completely different. Like the way teams are playing us. I feel like just how we're scouted, how we're played every night is way different than last year.
What does that look like in real time? Just in terms of the difference, like are people trying to take away some element of your game in terms of the coverages on Shai's ISOs and pick and rolls? How teams are switching or not switching with Chet? Like, what are some of those adjustments that you've seen over the course of this season?
Yeah, I think teams are throwing a lot more looks at us. You mentioned Chet, like obviously we didn't have him last year. So teams had an adjustment period with him too on what they want to do with, having Shai and him in a pick and roll. Shai seeing a ton of doubles. You look at the Toronto game, for example, just kind of like a box of one, trap them all over the floor. I've even seen like blitzes and traps off ball screens some this year. So everybody's kind of getting like a different look. I think that's kind of the biggest change to the year. I get guarded differently almost every game. I think I'm seeing like a different change in defenders too. Like when Shai goes out, I'm usually getting the
A1. Yeah. You're getting the A1. Yeah.
Yeah. Which has helped too. I love it. So
yeah. Is there anything in terms of your own game where the coverage or adjustment happened and maybe it caught you off guard? Or was there a moment where you're like, oh, I haven't been guarded that way. Like this was a go-to play or this was a go-to move for me, and like now it's in the scouting report?
Yeah. Coaches like on the sideline will like yell out our plays now, and they'll like, usually if it's for me, like coming out of a timeout and like it's something that we've ran, like I can hear like the coaches on the other side, especially if it's on their bench, like, oh, it's coming to 8 or, kind of whatever that is. So I've been denied a couple plays. Our first time playing at Utah, we ran a play that I usually like will be able to get the ball, and I got double teamed off of it. So that threw me for a loop. I'm actually pretty sure I turned it over too. Yeah, we had a meeting about that right after because I had like a turnover. I didn't even expect the double to come. So that's been a fun learning curve.
When you came on in October, I think we all knew how good Chet was, but he hadn't played yet. Now that we're in February and we've seen enough of this, what sort of surprised you the most about just his level of success as a rookie? Because it's not easy. You knew from last year, it's not easy, and what he's doing is pretty incredible.
Yeah. I think just to sit out a whole year and then, not really know what, like what's going to happen to start this year. I think he's done a really good job of just kind of understanding the role and then blossoming in like kind of into that role and then expanding from there. And he's done a good job of like understand like what we kind of need as a team and not like playing outside of that realm because he's super talented. So, I feel like it's really easy for him to maybe get caught up in, trying to force stuff, but he's done a really good job of just kind of playing within us. And I think that's why he's having success now. And then I think that's why we're winning as well.
You've been with Shai 2 years now. And to some degree, I said this most of last season. I was like Shai to me was already a star, and he had an improvement obviously last year. Crazy numbers. in some ways, he's better. And actually, in a lot of ways, he's better again this year, where he's taken another jump, another leap. Someone who's been around him for 2 years and sort of seen, I call it processing speed, right? In terms of reading coverages, getting to his spots, doing all of those things. What's been sort of the most impressive thing about his game that you've seen grow over the last 2 years?
I would say his decision-making has been kind of like a big jump for him. And not even in the sense of like, it was bad to start off. I think he's just kind of trusting us a lot more to make the, kind of like the right play with somebody else. Like, even if it doesn't involve him, which I think is a big step for people that have the ball a lot, kind of being able to play 2 and 3 passes ahead of what, people may be thinking. So I think he's starting to really kind of understand that, like, for example, like if people watching that don't know, like if I make this pass, this will kind of lead to something else, but I won't get the assist for it. I think he's kind of made that big jump, in regards to that. Probably his most recent game was Toronto. I think just being able to get off of it and kind of letting other guys play. I think that was one of the biggest reasons we won that game. So I would just say his kind of willingness to play make and kind of get off the rock.
Has he had a takeover moment that's been your favorite so far? I know he's had a lot of them.
It's like a nightly thing.
Usually the last 2 weeks.
It was like, yeah, last night.
Yeah, last night was a good one. I don't know. He's had some good games. I don't even know if there's a favorite. Usually, like, I think we get numb to it. I'm not trying to like boost him crazy, but like I think around like that 6-minute mark when he comes in the fourth quarter, the game's usually pretty close. So usually, if you end up pulling out with a W, he has a big part in that. So he's had some tough he's had some tough clips, man.
I'm going to kind of co-sign what Jalen's talking about because I'm not comparing players here, but the best players that I played with, like Joel, CP, Blake, Dwight, you do become a little numb to it, where there are even certain games where I'm sure you've had this with Shai, where you're like, oh man, fucking Dwight's not playing very well tonight. And then it's like 6 minutes to go in the fourth, and you're like, oh, he's got 24, 15, and 6 blocks. Like, I don't even feel it. Because they're just so fucking good. They're just so fucking good. And like, I was at the Knicks game on Tuesday against the Grizzlies. And in retrospect, Jalen Brunson, whatever he ended up with, 27 and 9 assists or whatever it ended up being, like it was quiet. Whereas because he does it every night, and it's a weird thing that I think happens to the best players, where we're not going to really talk about you unless you go for 73, unless you go for 60. And as a teammate, it's the same thing. Like, you just become numb to their greatness, which is one of the reasons I always say, like, when I'm on a broadcast, I'm like, don't take it for granted. Like, don't take it for granted. What we're witnessing with Shai, what we're witnessing with Jokic or Kawhi right now, don't take it for granted, because it's fucking elite level basketball.
Yeah, no, I'm right there, because there's been some games where I'm like, I don't know, he's quiet today, and then we look up and win the game, and I'm like, dang, he had our last 12 points. Yeah, so there's been a lot of games like that where it's kind of just like, or he'll be like sneaky quiet and have like 35, and it's just kind of like something that our team needs and expects him to have. So it's like when you have that over a consistent basis, it's like you don't really notice it.
I love it. I love it. We'll have more of these check-ins throughout the season. Jalen, we appreciate it. All right, guys, it is the return of the Old Man in the 3 draft, and we are happy to announce that New Era is the official sponsor of the Old Man in the 3 draft. Got a lot of fun collaborations coming up with New Era. Can't wait to show you guys that stuff. Let's get to the Old Man in the 3 draft presented by New Era. All right, Old Man in the 3 draft presented by New Era. Can't wait for this. This is Jalen Williams' first draft. Jalen, I explained to you on text how this works, but just to review, you get the first pick. Tommy gets the second pick. I get the third and fourth pick. It goes back to Tommy. Then you get 2 picks, and we just subsequently snake that thing all the way through until we've all chosen 5 in this topic.
Yep.
Tommy, the topic is?
Topic is favorite post-game meals.
Favorite post-game meals. So, again, this obviously is exclusive to NBA cities. Tommy travels enough. I don't know if you as the listener, you as the viewer knew this. And Jalen, I don't know if you knew this either. Tommy did not play in the NBA. But
some people may think I did, but I did not. I didn't make it.
He didn't make it. But he's been in enough of these NBA cities where he can participate in this draft very easily. Actually, Tommy's going to crush this. All right, Jalen, you get the first pick. Best post-game meals, NBA cities. Let's go.
I'm going to say Mahogany's.
Ooh,
Bad answer.
You had to take an OKC spot.
I did, for sure. I'll get grilled if I didn't bring that up. So
What makes it so good?
Well, first off, they stay open late enough for us to eat after, so that's usually nice.
That's point number one.
Yeah, that's a big point. I don't know. They just take care of us. Good food. It's really right by the arena, so a lot of convenience, good food, good service. So,
Do you have a go-to order?
ooh, I usually get a Wagyu strip steak, medium rare. I'll get a lobster mac and cheese, a lobster tail, and shoelace string fries.
Sounds amazing.
That's incredible.
Tommy?
All right, I'm taking New York off the board just because I know JJ has a bunch of options.
Wait, hold on. You can't take a whole city off the board.
I'm taking New York off the board just because I know.
City.
Just because I know I can't take it off, but he's going to get in his own head if I don't pick New York. So I'm taking Teresi.
Okay.
In Manhattan, which is the guys who did Carbone. It's their new restaurant. Carbone's great. Not a Carbone hater, but this is better than Carbone. There's a cavatelli there, which is a Jamaican themed cavatelli with like shredded beef. That's unbelievable. So it's also open till about 1:30 in the morning. So I'm going to take Teresi, Manhattan, Soho, New York City as my first pick.
I like it. So here's the advantage that I have in this draft, especially over Jalen. I played in 6 different cities. So I know all the late night spots in 6 different cities. I also live in New York and have for 7 years. So I know New York. And now as a broadcaster, I get to go call games. And then if I'm not taking a red eye from the West Coast, I go get, so I know a lot of this shit.
He has more options.
I don't know where to go with this. So I'm going to start in my favorite city that I played in, and that was Philadelphia. I'm going to go with Mulherrin & Sons, which is an Italian place in Fishtown. Every single time I'm in Philly, I go there. Incredible pizza, pasta, great main dishes, and the bartenders are awesome. They're awesome. Last time I was there, they made a riff on a corpse reviver and put some tequila and mezcal in there for me. Oh, so good. So I'm going with Mulherrin & Sons. And then you can't take New York City off the board, Tommy. I'm going to go with one of my favorite spots when I would drive back after games in Philly. New York, we had a ton of open spots late, but one of the best restaurants in all of New York City, Four Charles, was lucky enough to get a reservation and eat there a couple times after games. Best burger in the city. The prime rib sandwich is even better. All the apps are great. Great wine list. Those are my 2.
Jalen, did you know JJ commuted? I feel like everyone didn't know this. So Jay, when he played in Philly, he lived in New York, and he would drive every day.
And how long of a drive is that? Like an hour and a half, hour?
It was like an hour 50 down to practice, and then a lot of times I'd leave practice at 3, so that would become 2.5 to 3 hours because I'd hit like Verrazano Bridge during rush hour, and then the BQE is a parking lot. So that was frustrating. But after games, it was like an hour 28. In fact, Jalen, this is
28.
This is how sick I am. Yesterday, we recorded with Luka for this episode. Okay. Luka was scheduled a long time ago, and he was at 1:30. And I had a game last night in Philly at 7:30. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do Luka. I'll go straight to the arena, be there in plenty of time, which I was. However, a little wrinkle, I had to go down for breakfast yesterday morning to meet with like production stuff, and drove down at 6:30 in the morning, had my breakfast, drove back up to Brooklyn, did the Luka thing, put my suit on, and then went back to Philly, called the game, came back to New York. Spent about 8.5 hours on the turnpike yesterday. Not a great day.
And you did the commute thing for how long?
2 years.
To practice?
2 years. 2 years.
Bro, he used to take the train to go to practice. He would plan out Amtrak. I actually don't think he got enough credit for it. Like, it's really psycho.
That's impressive. You're sicko though.
Yeah, it was like psycho.
It was for my family. That's what people don't understand.
It was a great cause.
It's not like I was like, I like New York better than Philly. No, it literally was because we had just moved here. I signed a 1-year deal. My kids got into a school, and I wasn't sure like how long I would play in Philly. I wasn't gonna. We had just moved from LA. Like I it did it for my family.
It worked out.
Family man, that's good. That's good.
All right, I'm going second pick. I'm going with an LA spot. Open, I think 24 hours. If not 24 hours, close to 24 hours. I'm going with Leo's Taco Truck on La Brea. I think it's La Brea and Venice Boulevard. I would say it's the best taco truck in LA. You can get an amazing meal there for under $6. Any kind of taco you want. Great place. Post game, post party, post whatever. It's an incredible late night meal. I would put it up there with any late night meal in the country.
All right. Well, Jalen and I have not had that yet.
Well,
I haven't had a lot of these.
You're going to. This is an education.
All right. Jalen, you have 2 picks right here.
All right. I'm gonna go. My friend's dad owns this one. It's called Back Bistro in Sacramento. I had it for the first time. Very good. I had a lamb burger. Very fire. It's called Back Bistro. So
I like that. I like that we get Sac on the map on this
great.
draft. That's great. It's great. It's great.
And it's in like one of those like new, I don't know where exactly in Sac, but it was in one of those like newer districts. So it's like, yeah, it's really built up. It was nice.
All right.
And then I'm like Waffle House.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
In Atlanta?
Anywhere there's a Waffle House, the trashier, the better.
That's actually a really good call. And I'm also envious of you because you're young and you can have like,
Every once in a while thing though. That's not like
NBA,
no, I know, but like when you're an NBA athlete, like you can pretty much eat whatever
NBA
you want. It
cities
doesn't matter.
have it? Atlanta, does Charlotte have it?
Charlotte for sure.
Charlotte, not
Oklahoma
Miami.
has it.
Oklahoma.
Texas,
Arizona has them.
Does Texas have them? I don't know.
Ooh, I've never been to one in Texas.
All right, pick a city because we're gonna pick a city. Like, where would you go to? Like, should we just say Atlanta?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the home. That's the home of Waffle House.
All right, my third one, I'm going one of the great food cities in the world, New Orleans. Going to a place I have been with JJ before, Bywater Bistro.
Okay.
Great. Jalen, next time you're there, great restaurant. I think it's open till about midnight. You can definitely go post game. We went last year when we were down there. There's a lot of options in New Orleans, but I think it's up there.
Yeah, New Orleans has good food.
Shout out to Nina Compton. I like that. New Orleans is also on my list, but I got to get a couple out of the way here. So this one will not get drafted, but Soto in Toronto.
So this is not a pick.
This is a pick. I'm just saying no one else is going to pick this. I'm going to take this in the 3rd round just because I like the story. Soto in Toronto. Did a number of team meals there. Lovely place. Kind of like old school Italian type vibes, right? Game 1 against Toronto in 2019, we get our asses kicked, and TJ McConnell and I decide to go to Soto afterwards. And who is there but the number 1 Toronto Raptors fan, Drake. So after we finished our meal, we went back to Drake's private room and we just talked about the Raptors and the Sixers for 30 minutes. And it was just a great memory. And it was also great food. I love it.
Was he talking shit?
No, he was very reasonable. Second spot, this is in Houston. Taking you there. Nancy's Hustle. Phenomenal place. Jalen, the next time you play the Rockets, you need to go to Nancy's Hustle.
Yeah, this place is elite.
Phenomenal
What's the food?
It's literally everything. It's like random shit. Like they'll have like a steak, right? But then there'll be an appetizer with like caviar on a piece of sourdough that's been, fermenting for 22 days. I don't know how this shit works. It's fancy food, but it's like delicious fancy food. It's not expensive. That makes sense.
Like it. All right. My 4th, maybe my favorite burger in the country, Al Cheval in Chicago.
Okay.
Same family as Fort Charles, open till about 1 a.m. Just a great. Chicago's another one that's kind of like New Orleans. There's a lot of options, but I needed a burger on here, so I think that'll be my fourth pick.
All right.
All right, Jalen, you got 2.
Oh, I got 2. Okay.
Have we taken any of yours?
Harold's. Mine are so boring. I don't know if anybody's ever been to Harold's in Chicago.
Oh, on the South Side?
Yeah.
Yeah, that place is amazing.
It was pre-draft.
That's a good call.
Or I guess like the draft. I guess that whole thing, the draft combine and stuff. I was eating that like right before I was playing. So
that's Waffle House. I mean, it's not the same vibe, but like the food there is incredible.
Yeah, Harold's is good. Wait, do you guys still have picks left?
We each got 1, so you're closing it out. This is your last pick.
This is your last pick.
My last pick.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. We'll go out of order. It's fine.
Okay,
don't worry about it. We'll unsnake it.
All right, my last one. I don't know. I was going back and forth on this, but I think I have to pick it. I'm going to go with the lemon pepper wings at Magic City in Atlanta.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that, Tommy.
Have you had those, Jalen?
Nothing wrong with that.
For the record,
I haven't.
I would. That's a recommendation.
I don't think I've
heard a lot of stories about there, and a lot of good and bad. I've stayed away from.
Those are the wings. Those are the wings that got Lou Will in trouble.
Yeah,
that's right.
They're legit though. Food there is very good.
Never been to Magic City.
When we're all in Atlanta, I'm going to get takeout wings, and you guys can try this for yourself.
All right. I'm going to close my 5 out. I got a number of options here. I want to just give a shout out to a few. Bellini Tavern in New Orleans, fantastic. The Jones Assembly, which I have eaten at many times, but after games in Oklahoma City. Pizzeria Matza in LA, which nothing's open late in LA, and that place is. Canard in Portland is another great spot. Had an insane wine there. But I'm going to close this out with one of my favorite restaurants, period, to visit on the road. I just ate there Saturday night when I was in Miami, and that's Il Gabbiano in Brickell. Love that spot.
Miami's great because everything's open.
Everything's open late.
I was going to put a little Jamaican spot that we went to in Miami, but I don't remember the name because, like I said, I paid for it. But I'm just going to say the STK in LA, I think it's in Beverly Hills. It's a very good STK because they're usually...
You can't go wrong. You can't, by the way, you can't go wrong with STK.
Yeah, they're usually fine.
Like, it's just late after a game. I've done the Denver one like 4 times after calling a game. It's great.
What's your Jalen? Do you have a favorite road city to play in yet, from like a vibe standpoint?
I mean, there's like cool like cultural like hoop aspects of a lot of stuff. Like, you go to New York and Boston, like those are like the hoop meccas. LA obviously is fun to play in. So I mean, like the really like kind of common ones.
Yeah. New York, as you guys keep getting better, is going to be fun because the crowd is going to be crazy.
I know.
Yeah, I feel like this year, like playing in New York will be really cool. Just because like we're way better than what we were last year.
All right, this has been the Old Man in the 3 Draft presented by New Era. Jalen, can't thank you enough for the time, my man.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me.